Let us travel back to Venice in the 13th and 14th centuries, a city-state in which the hub of finance and business was beating furiously. Originally founded on marshy islands in the Adriatic Sea, this had to be sustained by sheer brilliance. Venice possessed no agricultural wealth nor a large army. Its sole strength was commerce and how it could manage money. It became the vital entrepot for trade between the East and the West. Venetian traders were not simply trading. They were acquiring knowledge on how to risk manage, finance vessels, and protect their wealth. But with this foreign trade came enormous complexity. Different currencies, vast distances, and the ever-present threat of pirates made sure that merchants did not want to transport enormous amounts of bullion on every voyage. There was a necessity for a system of fiscal security in a rush. Out of this chaos, the initial financial institutions emerged. Tables were set up in the Venetian marketplaces, particularly near the Rialto Bridge, where money was changed, stored, and transmitted. These tables became known as banco in Italian. Initially, these banchieri were little more than money changers, but shortly thereafter, they offered two revolutionary services. Deposits. Traders deposited their heavy silver and gold with the banchieri and received a receipt. This avoided the danger of robbery or piracy. Transfers. If there was a merchant who needed to pay someone, instead of transferring cash money, he would simply instruct a banchier to make an entry in his ledger. Debit X's account and credit Y's account for this amount. This was the initial payment mode of not moving cash. But all this was on trust alone, and sometimes there was a failure of that trust. If a banchier defaulted or was dishonest, the Venetian Senate would intervene. In case of bankruptcy, the Senate would actually break the banker's bench in public to proclaim his bankruptcy. This gave rise to the Latin phrase bancarrota, which is etymologically the origin of the modern word bankrupt. These events led to tighter regulations on banking and regularization of finance in Venice. By the 14th century, Venetian traders had giant and intricate operations, buying spices in India, selling them in London, financing shipbuilding, and making loans at interest. The present single-entry method of bookkeeping was not enough to manage this complexity. When a merchant glanced at his ledgers at the end of the year, all he could do was look at how much his cash had increased. What then of his stock? How much was in his favor? How much did he owe? Most crucial, was he actually turning a profit, or was he on the brink of insolvency? The single-entry system couldn't give him answers to these questions. The need necessitated the development of the double-entry bookkeeping system. The traders formulated a simple but genius principle, that each transaction has an effect on two sides of the business. If anything comes into capital, it must have gone out somewhere. That is, each debit entry must be balanced by a matching equal and opposite credit entry. Example: when you purchase spices for 100 ducats in cash, your cash account is debited 100 ducats, and your merchandise inventory account is credited 100 ducats. This rule guaranteed that the total of all debits was always equal to the total of all credits, and was simple to spot any error and have a full financial picture of the company on one balance sheet. Double-entry bookkeeping had been employed as a secret trade secret in Venice for decades. However, it was Luca Pacioli, a wandering friar and mathematician, who came to Venice. In 1494, in his magnum opus summarizing all mathematics of the time, Summa de Arithmetica Geometria, Proportioni et Proportionalita, Pacioli included a chapter on commercial arithmetic describing the Venetian method. By setting this technique down in writing and printing it, Pacioli eliminated its secrecy. Pacioli's work was published at the beginning of the era of the printing press and was spread immediately across Europe. Other Venetian merchants could now adopt this effective and rational system as well. Double-entry accounting was more than a record-keeping system. It was the engine of capitalism. Firms were able, for the first time, to make rational, science-based decisions. Financial transparency and reliability enabled risk management and enabled huge accumulations of capital and foreign investment. Although built upon lagoons, Venice ruled the seas of the world with its financial infrastructure. Its banking and accounting techniques made a cut as profound as the artistic and scientific excellence of Italian Renaissance. Now every transaction on Wall Street or Borsa Istanbul is a reverberation of the refined but revolutionary justification born at those humble banco tables of 14th century Venice.